To become the strongest cyborg mecha in history, I didn't hesitate to spend all my savings to buy a gun ant and swallowed it in one gulp, enduring the nausea. Right now, everyone laughs at me for being crazy, but what they don't know is that the mecha apocalypse is about to descend. Half of the people in the world will be able to awaken their destined mecha by eating food before the end. Some eat pigeons. The mecha comes with wings, soaring freely in the sky. Some eat a centipede. From then on, they become centipede mecha, shaking the world. Some even eat bodybuilding pills, directly transforming into a Hercules mecha, able to shatter planets with one punch. But in my previous life, although I ate a roast chicken, the first thing I do is to eat all kinds of powerful insects in the world as soon as possible. As long as I collect the genes in advance and obtain the ultimate talent, I will definitely produce unparalleled power and become the master of the world. Then I remembered that in my previous life, there was an insect auction at an exhibition. Among them, there was one that I needed, so I immediately took a taxi to the insect exhibition. Since it was the first time it was held locally, there were many people who came, but people's interest in gene-enhanced gun ants was not too high. Only a few people bid. I offer 8,000. This was a white-skinned man wearing glasses and a shirt. Bai Lin, nicknamed Bug Fanatic, is also a famous figure in the area. Hearing the Bug Fanatic bid 8,000, the others stopped bidding. This price had exceeded their bottom line. 8,000 once, 8,000 twice, 8,000 three times. Wait, I offer 10,000. Just as the auction hammer was about to fall, I walked steadily to the auction stage, ignoring everyone's idiot stares. Although ants can lift objects that are 400 times their own weight, they are far from being as good as gun ants. Gun ants can lift objects 1141 times their own weight. If I absorb the genes of this gun ant, my combat power will definitely be greatly improved. Hearing such an outrageous bid, the Bug Fanatic sized me up and asked with displeasure, "This gene-enhanced ant is not rare. What are you going to do with it?" As soon as the words fell, the whole place erupted. The Bug Fanatic was stunned at first, then laughed along with the crowd. "This guy is obviously mentally ill. Just give me the 8,000. The auctioneer was also a little unhappy. "Sir, if you want to cause trouble, then I'll have to call security. I won't waste any time. I'll just take out my bank card. Can I pay by card?" The auctioneer hurriedly took out the card machine and swiped the card. He immediately smiled from ear to ear. Seeing that no one continued to bid, he heavily knocked the gavel. "Deal. These people are really interesting now. Some eat earthworms. Some eat scorpions, and now there's even someone eating dung beetles. Aren't you afraid of eating yourself to death?" Everyone looked at me like I was an idiot. They couldn't understand this kind of wasteful behavior. "Don't just talk. If you have the guts, eat it in front of everyone." Seeing me so calm, the Bug Fanatic was furious. "If you can eat it, then I'll consider it my loss today. If you can't, then transfer the gene-enhanced gun ant to me for 8,000. How about it?" I didn't want to pay attention to him, but my eyes suddenly focused on a small box in his hand. Inside, there was a black and white insect. "That armored beetle is yours." Armored beetles have the strongest exoskeleton among animals. Unlike ordinary insects that can be crushed with one kick, can even resist car crashes. If the gun ant represents power, then the armored beetle is definitely defense. So what if it's mine? If it's yours, then let's make a bet. In a moment, I'll eat the gene-enhanced gun ant in front of everyone, and you'll give me the armored beetle. Hearing this, the Bug Fanatic hesitated. Armored beetles are rare, and he was definitely reluctant to part with it, but there were so many people here, many of whom were acquaintances. He really didn't want to lose face. Suddenly, he gritted his teeth, his eyes fierce. "I'll give it to you. But you must eat it. I don't believe you have the guts to eat it." "No problem." Saying that, I grabbed the gun ant. Compared to those twisted and mutated creatures from my previous life, this gun ant was already good food. "Eat it. Are you afraid? It's just a gun ant. If you really don't dare to eat it, you don't have to force yourself." "Oh." The Bug Fanatic continued to provoke. I chuckled and simply threw it into my mouth, crunching and chewing. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were speechless. After swallowing it all in one gulp, I spread out my palm. Hand over the armored beetle. The Bug Fanatic's face turned pale, and he reluctantly took out the small box. "Wait, I want this armored beetle." Before I could take it, a young man walked over with two burly men in black vests, crimson armor and An Honghai. I squinted at the young man in front of me. This was the #1 expert who would rule the entire Ning city in the future. The crimson armor was extremely powerful. When it charged, it could even shatter a mountain. In my previous life, I had been tightly controlled by An Honghai's men a few years ago. If I hadn't taken the opportunity to go out to find food and escaped with my life, I would probably have turned into a pile of bones in their hands long ago. Just then, a mechanical voice suddenly rang in my ears. Gun Ant Gene Absorption Complete. Insect Fanatic Universal Mecha Advanced to God Class Mecha Form. Matching the attributes of the God Class Chicken Armor, I couldn't help but be overjoyed. Although the other 3 stats are a bit low, the strength alone already firmly surpasses many second-tier mechs. What's more, there's an even more heaven-defying God Chicken exclusive module. Not only does it directly provide a 50% strength bonus, but it can also be upgraded again. Thinking of this, I snatched away the ironclad beetle clutched by the bug enthusiast. An Honghai saw this and a fake smile appeared on his lips. Hey buddy, transfer the bug to me. As for the price, double it, that's enough face, right? Sorry, I don't lack money. Seeing a crowd of people squeezing over, I felt a tightening in my heart and planned to leave quickly. With so many people, if a mutant popped out, no matter how capable I am, I'd have to kneel. I said, "Give me that bug, are you deaf?" Seeing me hesitate, An Honghai immediately signaled his bodyguards to block me. Facing the Blue Deer thugs, a surge of anger rushed to my head. The killing intent accumulated from my previous life poured out without reservation, directly immobilizing the 2 thugs in place. You've got guts. You really have guts. The bastard in Ning City who dares to publicly embarrass me hasn't been born yet. What do you think you are? He brought his face close to mine, grabbed for the box with hateful intent. I swept his hand away and walked out without looking back. The surroundings instantly fell silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. He was really going to rip off An Xiao's face, throw it on the ground, and stomp on it. An Honghai's face turned red, and he glared fiercely at the 2 bodyguards. The bodyguards immediately kicked towards my back. Just as their legs made contact, a golden light suddenly flashed behind me. The next second, a 3-meter-tall, black and gold, cool-looking chicken armor materialized out of thin air. The mech then knelt down, radiating a wave of pressure like a tidal wave. As soon as the chicken armor appeared, I punched and broke the legs of the 2 bodyguards. Many people's legs went weak. The mech came in front of An Honghai. Looking up at the huge chicken armor, An Honghai was extremely panicked. He tried to put on a brave face and said, "Hehe, friend, let's talk this over. Let's just pretend everyone's eyes were playing tricks on them. How about we become friends?" Hehe. I chuckled, and a huge arm swung towards the sky. The terrifying pressure, pressed down like a mountain, and Honghai couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed to the ground. Facing such a terrifying monster, he was almost scared to lose control of his bowels. But I didn't make a move, just a feint. Don't worry, I'm not planning to cause trouble right now. We'll talk about it later. After speaking, I stomped my feet and zoomed away. In the blink of an eye, I had disappeared from everyone's sight. They stared at my retreating back, and Honghai's eyes instantly turned fierce. "I've remembered you, kid. You dare to act crazy with me in full armor. When my team arrives, don't even mention your broken metal shell. Even a 30-meter titan. I'll crush into slag." But what he didn't know was that once the mutation started, the environment and materials would change. At that time, all weapons would be reduced to a pile of scrap metal. What allows people to survive will only be the mechs they awaken themselves. After leaving the exhibition, I quickly deactivated the mech form and returned home. I couldn't wait to start cooking the armored beetle in a pot with oil, then sprinkle some cumin and chili powder. Crunch, crunch. With a series of crisp sounds, the armored beetle was like fried chicken, and was quickly devoured by me. As soon as I swallowed it, a semi-transparent countdown screen appeared before my eyes. Ironclad beetle gene acquired. Modifying the first-tier soldier-type mech. Modification time, 9 minutes and 58 seconds. The soldier-type mech is still a basic mech in the early stages. If you want to strengthen it, you have to continue collecting materials, especially the agility attribute. This urgently needs to be improved. Although the cataclysm officially starts the day after tomorrow, many creatures have already started mutating. I suddenly became thoughtful. After the cataclysm begins, various creatures will evolve extremely rapidly. Not to mention that, in the later stages, there will be other planets, races invading on a large scale. There are even so-called gods appearing. I remember clearly that, in my previous life, there was a god named Thoth. He was a human-headed god. If I absorbed him, I wonder how strong the mech that is remodified will be. Entering my sight was a pair of straight white legs. Looking up, 2 mounds filled my vision. "Where are you looking? So vulgar. I'm telling you. Pay the rent tomorrow immediately and then move out with me. Did you hear that? Isn't tomorrow still not here yet? What's the rush?" I looked at the woman in front of me with a strange expression. I was afraid that she would have the life to collect the money, but not the life to spend it. Hearing my disdainful tone, The woman became even more energetic and started to nag endlessly. But I wasn't in the mood to listen to the woman's nagging. Ironclad Beetle Gene Absorption complete. The first-tier soldier-type mech has been promoted to the Celestial Domain mech form. The Celestial Domain mech is more powerful than I imagined, especially the 50% physical damage reduction. Even the attacks of second-tier monsters are not worth fearing for me. The 20% elemental resistance is also precious. It can not only resist attacks from elements such as wind, fire, thunder, and lightning, but also eliminate mental damage. Before my mood could calm down, another prompt sounded. Prompt: continue to absorb 3 types of isopod genes to complete mecha form fusion. Mecha form fusion? I was shocked. This is the real divine skill. Once fusion is performed, the weaknesses of the mecha in a single form will be compensated for. Then I will have no shortcomings. Awesome. I'm talking to you. Did you hear that? This is precocious mutation. I was slightly startled in my heart. Immediately, the Celestial Domain mecha behind me automatically covered the surface of my body. Why don't you listen to me? The woman slowly walked towards me, her flesh and blood constantly growing. In the blink of an eye, she grew into a flesh and blood giant with the power of wind and frost, nearly 3 meters tall. The next second, she waved her erected palm and howled towards me. I subconsciously sidestepped. Combat skills from my previous life emerged, allowing me to dodge easily. Like a knife cutting through tofu, it easily sank into the concrete wall behind. Missing with one strike, the woman pulled out her erected palm and continued to attack, but this time I didn't dodge. I simply wanted to see what the defensive capabilities of the Celestial Domain mecha were like. Okay, the erected palm slid across the surface of the mecha, emitting a harsh sound. After one strike, the woman's palms were instantly bloody and her nails shattered, but the Celestial Domain mecha didn't even have a single scratch. Inside the mecha, I didn't feel anything at all. The abilities of the Celestial Domain mecha are indeed amazing. Then it's my turn. I let out a low shout and slammed the woman against the wall, then switched to the giant god mecha and crushed her head with a punch. Killed a bloody one, obtained material Agility Blood Core. Agility Blood Core. I didn't expect my luck to be so good. What dropped was actually a blood core that could increase agility attributes. Immediately, I exerted a little force on my hand. With a snap, the Agility Blood Core suddenly shattered. The dark red blood inside continuously poured out, dripping on the surface of the mecha. Consuming the Agility Blood Core will add 1 to the agility attribute. 4 points of agility is still not enough. I thought to myself, since agility is not enough, then I'll find a kind of speed. The fastest insect. After searching, I identified 2. One is the tiger beetle, and the other is the dragonfly. But in terms of speed, the dragonfly is definitely faster and also has flight capabilities. But the aerial environment is more complex and dangerous than the land. For the sake of my life, I can put it off for now. Then I'll choose the tiger beetle. Tiger beetles can move a distance of 171 times their body length per second. Converted to my 1.8 meter height, it can even catch up with factors. Having determined the next target, I wanted to continue searching for more information about insects. Just then, the phone on the desk suddenly vibrated. I looked puzzled, picked it up, slid it open, and heard a muffled, middle-aged man's voice from the other end. Is this Mr. Huang Ting? I have a delivery. My time is tight. My name is Chu Jiaxin. I greatly admire that thing on you. And I also have some very strange things happening here. Perhaps you can know part of the reason. It's Chu Jiaxin, the richest man in Ning City who spans real estate and catering. I would like to invite Mr. Huang Ting to be a guest at my place. What do you think? Faced with Chu Jiaxin's invitation, I agreed without hesitation. Okay, after all, being alone is ultimately weak. If there is a large force to support me, I can transition better. Moreover, it is said that Chu Jiaxin has a giant botanical garden, and there are countless insects inside. On the one hand, relying on Chu Jiaxin's power to get through the mutation period, and on the other hand, to find tiger beetles for mecha modification, is also a win-win situation. Soon, 2.5 minutes later, I successfully arrived at the botanical garden. At this time, an old man in a suit was sitting under a mushroom-shaped gazebo. It was Chu Jiaxin, and beside him was a girl dressed as a reporter, not tall but extremely eye-catching. Behind her were more than 40 black-clad bodyguards scattered in every corner, waiting for orders at any time. Chu Jiaxin had been sizing me up from the beginning. Seeing me so calm, a trace of sperm could not help but appear in his eyes. She actually smelled a scent of arrival on me. Interesting. Mr. Huang, I invited you here this time. Just call me Huang Kun. I came this time. One is for those strange things you mentioned, and the other is to borrow some of your things. You are really direct. I have no choice but to be direct after all. The apocalypse is coming soon. The apocalypse? You've watched too many movies, haven't you? President Chu, don't test me. As long as you don't harm my interests, I won't attack you. On the contrary, we can reach some cooperation. Chu Jiazhen looked embarrassed. It was the first time he had been so directly exposed his intention to form an alliance and changed the subject. The apocalypse you mentioned is real, of course. If I'm not mistaken, the strange things you mentioned should be related to this. Seeing that I was so sure, Chu Jiazhen hesitated for a moment, then led the two to a corner of the botanical garden. There was a peculiar building here. There were 10 black-clad bodyguards guarding the entrance, each armed with guns and well-equipped. Boss, the situation is not good. The captain, a Liang, handed over a tablet. The content of the 4 surveillance screens made people's scalps tingle. I glanced at the front and immediately recognized that this was the most common blood corpse. Blood corpses have no sanity and are extremely bloodthirsty. They will devour all living things visible in front of them, even their own kind. The last screen was more peculiar. There was only a tall woman about 2 meters tall. She was actually an elite-level mutant. I didn't expect that elite-level mutants would appear before the cataclysm even started. She is the captain of my bodyguard team. She started acting abnormally yesterday, and I had no choice but to lock her up here. I nodded to show I understood. Then I pushed the door open to enter. After all, these mutants can drop materials. How could I miss it? Wait, entry is prohibited here. Liang, don't be rude to the guests. Chu Jiazhen's expression changed slightly, carefully observing my expression. Sorry, Liang is just worried about your safety. I waved my hand to show I didn't care. Then, with a thought, a black gold giant mech automatically attached to my body. Seeing the tall, mighty, and sharp mech, Chu Jiazhen could no longer remain calm, his face horrified. Chu Hui also had golden light in her eyes. She majored in material science but didn't know where the mech materials on my body came from. However, just when everyone was shocked, a burst of loud gunfire suddenly rang out, mixed with the roars of monsters and the curses of others. Something bad has happened. At this time, Captain A. Liang's face At this time, the blood corpse that was originally in room number 2 had already rushed out of the room and was slaughtering the guards inside. Many guards had been torn into pieces by the blood corpse and integrated into its body. As the corpses were constantly eaten, the aura on the blood corpse became more and more violent. The remaining guards stopped resisting and rushed out one by one. At this moment, a black gold mech went against the guards and walked deeper into the building. Boss, so many brothers are not a match for that monster. Can this guest of yours do it? Liang still didn't believe it. I could resist this monster. It was the first time Chu Hui had seen such a bloody scene, and she was a little uneasy. But just as Chu Jiazhen was trying to let Liang in, he discovered that in the screen, I had already collided with the raging blood corpse. The blood corpse's huge fist brushed past my body and landed. The marble floor was instantly smashed with spider web-like cracks. The power is quite high. As expected, even after being strengthened by the agility blood core, the speed of the giant mech is still a little slow. In that case, let's resolve it as soon as possible. I burst out the strength of my legs and slammed into the blood corpse's chest. The blood corpse, which was taller than a story, was immediately sent flying and smashed into the wall behind it. Even Chu Jiazhen and the others were outside. They felt a tremor around them. Liang swallowed a mouthful of saliva, with a bit of fear and shock. Is this still a human? Back then, just to move this monster, we had to use 2 10-ton cranes. That's why I asked you to respect him a little. Now you know the power he possesses, right? Chu Jiazhen had not only shock but also worry. He thought more than Liang. The secret behind the monster's appearance was the biggest motivation for him to put down his status and befriend me. In the screen, I didn't give the blood corpse a chance to breathe. I charged forward again and punched the blood corpse in the chest. The huge iron fist directly penetrated the blood corpse's flesh until it collapsed the wall behind it as well. Killed the mutated blood corpse, obtained the material power blood core. Immediately after, I grabbed the power blood core in my hand and came outside. Judging from the surveillance screen just now, the one transformed by Lisa, the elite-level mutant is extremely fast. I will definitely die if I act now. I'll wait until I find the tiger beetle and modify a new type of mech before taking action. As for the other 2 blood corpses, I will also leave them for useful purposes. Seeing me automatically retract the mech on my body and walk out slowly, Chu Hui was the first to rush to the front. Very curious about the tea house, and Chu Jiazhen and Liang admired the alliance to the point of prostration. However, instead of directly taking it out, I showed him a picture of a tiger beetle that I had been collecting and asked Manager Chu to help me find this insect. Fortunately, many hands make light work, and after a while, Liang returned with a glass jar. The tiger beetle lying on its stomach was exactly what I needed. You don't want to eat it, do you? I didn't deny it and immediately grabbed it. I threw the tiger beetle, which was trying to escape, into my mouth to obtain the tiger beetle mech suit. Then the remaining 2 blood corpses will be handed over to Manager Chu and Miss Chu Hui. As soon as these words came out, Chu Jiazhen's eyebrows furrowed. Chu Hui's face paled and she waved her hands. Are you kidding me? How can I deal with that kind of monster? After a moment of silence, Chu Jiazhen finally spoke. You want us to take action? Is it related to the mech suit on your body? As expected of someone who has suffered from the Red Fork Gang, he can point directly to the core. Find the root of the problem. So, Manager Chu, do you want it? It would be a lie to say he wasn't tempted, but he also knew that with his own strength, it was impossible to deal with such a monster. Manager Chu, don't rush to give me an answer. You can consider it, but I don't have much time. No need to consider it. I want this technology or ability. If you have any other conditions. Chu Jiazhen agreed readily. Even pigs can fly when standing on the crest of the wave for a long time. I thought for a moment and finally said, if I need anything in the future, I hope Manager Chu can help me without counting the losses. Okay, I promise you, even at the cost of my life. But I have one condition, and that is that Chu Hui is not bound by this condition. Dad, what are you talking about? Chu Hui's eyes widened as she rushed into Chu Jiazhen's arms, tears welling up. Okay, 2.5 days later, at 12 noon. Most creatures will undergo mutations. Blood corpses are one of the most common types, and those who haven't mutated will awaken their corresponding natal mechs. But you have to eat something delicious. Plants, natal mechs. Chu Jiazhen muttered, his body suddenly stiffened. Not being a fool, he immediately realized the connection between the two. He immediately waved his hand and beckoned Liang to give the order. Stew the pair of mammoth tusks and Argentinian English graphite city powder from the collection room together. But at this moment, a mocking voice suddenly came from the entrance of the botanical garden. Chu Hui, so you're really here? Why are you here again? I told you I don't like you. Stop bothering me. Chu Hui showed no respect to An Honghai. An Honghai smiled shamelessly, but the next second, he noticed me standing with Chu Jiazhen, and his expression instantly turned grim. You little brat. I haven't gone looking for you yet, but you came to my door yourself. An Honghai, he's my dad's guest. Don't mess around here. Guest? Uncle Chu. The mech suit on his body is just a Tiger Clan gadget. At most, it has some strength, but it has no practical use. Thinking of this, he immediately turned his head and looked at the 5 bodyguards behind him. Having been through exhibitions and meetings, he had increased the security forces. These 5 people were all equipped with more advanced firearms. All right, Honghai. Uncle Chu has guests today. Take care of the matters in the city. If it were in the past, naturally An Honghai's value would be higher, but now I am more important than him. Noticing his neglect and alienation, An Honghai was furious. He believed that the culprit of all this was me. Kid, if you have the guts, show off your rusty junk. Let's see if I can beat you into a cripple. An Honghai snapped his fingers, and the bodyguards behind him immediately pulled out their guns and aimed at me. Damn it, the black-clothed bodyguards surrounding me quickly drew their guns and confronted them. The atmosphere on the scene suddenly became tense and anxious. Chu Jiazhen didn't want to make a scene here. After all, this was his territory. He was about to speak to smooth things over, but I stopped him. I glanced at the countdown, which had half a minute left. I revealed a bright smile. Then let's give it a try. I also want to test the new form of the mech suit. I heard a familiar prompt in my ear. Tiger Beetle Heavy Armor Absorption Complete. General Purpose Mech Suit advanced to Thunderflash Mech Suit form. Good stuff. The exclusive module Thunderflash's burst speed is increased by 30%, and agility is increased by 20%. After completing the mech suit upgrade, you can continue to upgrade it. As long as I switch forms fast enough, my strength is no less than a second-tier mech suit, and may even be stronger. Thinking of this, I took a few steps forward and looked at An Honghai with piercing eyes. I'll show you my mech suit. If you can hit me even once, I'll admit defeat. No, that's too cheap for you. If I hit you, then you crawl out from between my legs. Stop. If I win, you will bark like a wushang dog for me. Anyway, you're just a simp, so just return to your true nature. Who are you calling a simp? My feelings for Chu Hui are genuine. And Honghai immediately retorted. I couldn't be bothered with him. If I didn't need the beetle core for future mech suit upgrades, I would have already taken him down. Then my mind moved. A mech with purple lightning patterns automatically attached to my whole body. Stop talking nonsense, come on. I let out a low growl, my body poised and ready. An Honghai also ceased his rash actions, waving his hand downwards. Bang 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 bang. A series of gunshots rang out rapidly. Accompanied by the explosions of gunfire, I felt as if everything around me slowed down in an instant. More than a dozen bullets flew from different directions, but they were all frozen in midair. I could even clearly see the trajectory of each bullet. I dodged to the side. All the bullets instantly embedded themselves in the wall behind me. Seeing this, An Honghai's eyes nearly popped out of his head. I actually dodged the bullets. Chu Jiaxin's body also shook. Only then did he realize that I had an even faster technique, but I just hadn't used it yet. All the bullets dodged. You lost. Thinking that I had to bark like a dog in front of so many people. An Honghai's face flushed instantly. He glared at me, his eyes carrying a hint of threat, but I just wouldn't let him have his way and said, An Honghai, since you lost, then fulfill the bet. Chu Jiaxin intended to ease the relationship between the two. But meeting my indifferent eyes that didn't have a trace of emotion, he retreated again. At this moment he was really a little scared. Woof! The dog bark came out of An Honghai's throat quickly, as if it was burning his mouth. Then, he forced down a mouthful of anger and left in a mess with his men. Watching his leaving figure, Ailiang smiled crisply, and then came to the mushroom pavilion with the prepared food. Even if they weren't hungry, Chu Jiaxin and Chu Hui still swallowed the fossil powder soup in one go. Roar, roar. After 2 screams, the remaining 2 blood corpses also had their limbs broken by me, and half of their bodies were shattered. At this moment, lying on the ground, the breath of life gradually weakened. Chu Jiaxin walked into the room triumphantly, carrying a half-person high hammer. Smash him to death. I stood on the side with my arms crossed. Chu Jiaxin is also a ruthless person. Even though the blood corpses looked terrifying, he still smashed down heavily without hesitation. Yes. A stream of blood burst out and sprayed on his face. In the end, the 2 blood corpses were also successively slaughtered by Chu Hui and Chu Jiaxin. Soon, a flash of light passed. 2 majestic mechs appeared in the room. The overall color of the mech on Chu Jiaxin's body was gray and white. The most conspicuous thing was the huge ivory on both shoulders. Metal gleams flickered on it, revealing a trace of coldness. Compared with Chu Jiaxin, Chu Hui's mech looked smaller, but it had a pair of huge steel wings. It looked frightening. Needless to say, as long as no one eats a dinosaur or something, this should be the most top-notch animal gene, right? At this moment, Chu Jiaxin no longer doubted the doomsday I was talking about, and his affection for me almost reached the top level. If I had a good impression of his daughter, it didn't seem impossible. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of Captain Lisa now. You guys get familiar with your respective mechs first. After saying that, my figure flashed and went straight to the last old door. As soon as I opened the door, a black shadow rushed up, so fast. I was startled in my heart, but not afraid. Immediately dodging the impact of the black shadow, and then exerting force from my legs, my whole person seemed to be compressed to the extreme, and instantly bounced to Lisa's side. Lisa, as the security captain, has top-notch qualities in all aspects. Seeing a creature approaching, she quickly swung her leg, wanting to kick me away. I took a light breath. The Thunder Flash mech instantly transformed into the Celestial Domain mech. Then, I raised my arm and forcibly withstood a whip kick. The moment the two came into contact, a sharp sonic boom exploded in the building. Chu Hui and Chu Jiaxin, who were studying the mech, were shocked when they heard the sonic boom, and quickly transformed into a mammoth and a giant eagle respectively, rushing to the depths of the building. I thought it would be difficult to fight, but when they arrived, they realized that, relying on the mech's super agility advantage, Lisa couldn't touch me at all. On the contrary, after a long time of entanglement, the wounds visible everywhere on Lisa's body were constantly bleeding, and she was almost exhausted. My figure flashed, appearing behind Lisa. Her speed was so fast that she didn't even react. Taking this opportunity, I quickly switched back to the Colossus mech and punched out with all my strength. Even if Lisa's body could already withstand bullet attacks, it was still no different from tofu under this punch, and I easily pierced through it. Killed an elite mutated blood corpse. Obtain materials: a bottle of agility blood core, a bottle of defense blood core, and 2 blood-colored bones. Lisa's pair of blood-colored bones have a low drop rate. I didn't expect them to appear so quickly. This is an indispensable strengthening material for early mech upgrades. But what excites me even more is the metal claw. A white light flashed. I placed the metal strip on my right hand. I only heard a click, and the metal strip merged with my right hand. The claws that popped out of my hand looked similar to Wolverine's. Then I gently waved it at the wall. The wall that had just been built was instantly scratched with deep marks. Defense attribute +1. There is still an agility blood core left. I strengthened the Colossus mech again. In this way, the agility attribute of the Colossus mech came to 5 points, which is currently enough. But just in case, I decided to find an abandoned building and transport some water and food, as well as basic necessities into it. This matter is easy to solve. Chu Jiaxin's business areas are real estate and catering. Just find an abandoned, unfinished building and consolidate it. Can be completely used as a temporary shelter. Time passed little by little. Soon, the time came to 1 hour before the official mutation. At this time, a row of helicopters suddenly flew overhead, constantly circling in the air. At this time, even the stupidest people knew that something was wrong. Everyone couldn't help but speed up their pace and return home under the command of the army. They thought that other countries were going to fight with Dragon Country, but they didn't know that what was about to happen was even more terrifying than they imagined. Before long, the streets were empty. It was so quiet that you could hear the sound of the wind blowing. At this time, there were only 10 minutes left until 12 o'clock. The originally dazzling sun now seemed to be covered with a layer of red sand, making it hard to see clearly. The 10 minutes passed in a blink of an eye. Accompanied by a roar, the great mutation officially began. Even if controls were carried out in advance, the entire Ning City was still in chaos in the face of the blood corpses. The mutated blood corpses charged around the streets, constantly attacking the defense lines composed of soldiers. Countless residents were killed and injured on the scene. Some even had their ornaments eaten away. Only those who could awaken their natal mechs could barely survive. People who could not awaken would also mutate into blood corpses. Helplessly, in order to survive, people had to reluctantly kill their relatives and friends. The same plot was staged in many places at the same time. I came to the top floor of the abandoned building and looked down at everything that was happening in the distance. When the doomsday broke out in the previous life, I was busy escaping and didn't observe carefully. But now that human civilization is destroyed, how many people have lost their loved ones? There are also many people who are forced to attack their most loved ones. Such a tragic scene all stems from a damn cosmic will. I must see what the cosmic will is. The chaos continued until the afternoon and still hadn't stopped. I took out a can of braised pork, heated it slightly, and ate it with relish. At this time, the generator and water purifier had completely failed. Fortunately, the food was not greatly affected. This can be considered a blessing in disguise. Big brother. Yesterday I saw a lot of people pulling things in there, and there's a steel plate covering it, so there must be good stuff inside. Not bad, not bad. I knew you were the smartest among us, boss. What if there are people? Stupid. We're just lucky. Having awakened this innate mecha, we can smash a small motorcycle in one hit. Who can be our match? Boss is wise. If there's anyone above, tell them to get lost. If they don't know what's good for them, then beat them up, hee. A noisy commotion came from outside. I paused for a moment, then continued eating nonchalantly. It's still the early days of the apocalypse. With God-class and Hell-class mechas, I won't refuse anyone, even a group of workers. Boss, there's a chick here pretty hot. Let me see. Indeed. Miss, are you alone? It's so dangerous outside now. Why not come with us? We'll definitely keep you safe. As soon as the man's voice fell, a chaotic fight broke out. Then, a pure white mecha appeared. Seeing the white mecha in front of them, the 5 thugs paused. Then, mechas with black-brown exteriors and long hairs appeared at the intersection at the same time. That animal is a pillbug. I recognized these men's mechas at a glance, having seen many in my past life. The chick turned into a man. That's a live transformation. Boss, there's food. At this time, a lackey saw the food behind me and exclaimed in surprise. Brother, you can't finish so much food. How about we share it? I slurped up all the meat in the can. Why should I share my stuff with you guys? Stingy brothers won't share. Then don't blame me for being a heartless boss. He finished speaking and his legs bent, charging, Thunder Flash Mecha. Fusion. I took 2 steps to easily dodge, boom. The boss, missing his target, smashed into the concrete wall next to him, creating a huge dent even in the reinforced steel plate outside. The other 3 lackeys launched their charges at the same time. Charging like a herd of wild boars, I dodged their attacks easily with quick and nimble movements. Damn it, kid, can you only run? Come and fight your daddy. The boss readjusted his posture and charged again. Seeing this, I chuckled. The Thunder Flash Mecha automatically transformed into the God-class Mecha, and I blocked his charge with just one hand. The 4 lackeys were stunned. The boss, who even steel plates couldn't stop, was actually stopped with one hand. But before everyone could react, an even more terrifying scene appeared. My arm suddenly transformed into a blade, and after sparks flew, the boss collapsed directly to the ground. The mecha on his body shattered with a bang, turning into a small Rubik's Cube-like object. Killed the mecha operator Wang, who, Tier 1. Gained a Tier 1 Mecha Core. After retrieving the Mecha Core, I looked at the remaining 4. I told you to run. Mecha, I'm not human. The 4 roared and fled outside in a panic. How could I give them the chance? Transforming into the Thunder Flash Mecha to finish them off. Although I only need 2 Mecha Cores to level up to Tier 2, I now have 3 mechas that need sampling. I'm not going to waste such good stuff that's been delivered to my door. After finishing everyone off, I slowly went upstairs and saw the white mecha poking its head out. It's okay, come down. I'll give you 2 choices. One is to leave here, but you can't reveal the existence of this place. Otherwise, I'll kill you myself. The second is to stay here and help me watch the house and do some chores. The reward is the food and water. I'm willing to stay here. My name is Guan Xilon. Guan Xilon's eyes quickly recovered from the panic. Whether it was my powerful combat ability or the abundant food reserves here, it undoubtedly demonstrated my strength. In this apocalypse, her parents had already turned into unrecognizable monsters. In order to survive, she could only rely on me now. Guan Xilon, that name is familiar. Just as I was thinking, Guan Xilon deactivated the mecha form, revealing her original appearance. Seeing her appearance, I suddenly remembered a photo I had seen. The effect of ecological proceduralization on native insect diversity. You're the author of that ecological report, right? Yes, it is. But that was my work from 3 years ago. As expected, it's him. It seems that I finally have a direction for my insect choices next. I felt a surge of excitement. This gain is much stronger than those few mecha cores. With Guan Xilon, my insect choices are no longer limited to those that exist in nature. I can completely focus on cultivating special types of insects. Absorbing the genes of those unique insects is the true way to use this god-tier talent of recombination and domination. I must keep Guan Xilon here. The mysterious props haven't appeared yet. I'll find a demonic document in a while. Then it would be perfect to sign a contract with Guan Xilon. After waiting another 2 hours in the abandoned building, I stood up, and the Thunder Flash Mecha automatically attached. It's time to go out and hunt monsters to obtain mecha enhancement materials. You wait here, don't make any noise. Did you hear me? Behave. Leaving the abandoned building, I rushed towards the most crowded place indoors. Newly formed blood thralls aren't very strong. Now is a good time to collect strengthening materials. Before I walked far, I ran into a blood thrall. I didn't hesitate, and the Thunder Flash Mecha appeared behind the blood thrall. Then the Titan Mecha was converted, and a giant hand reached out. 2/3 of the blood thrall's head was instantly gone. Killed a mutated blood thrall, liquidized, obtained the material power blood and a bottle of blood loss +1. Sure enough, after the official start, the blood thrall's violence has increased a lot. Picking up the dropped items, I set my sights on another blood thrall. Killed a mutated blood thrall, liquidized, obtained the material flesh essence. Flesh essence can slightly improve the mecha's attributes. I happily and heartily fought low-level blood thralls, fearless of others, only to quickly obtain more materials to grow faster. Thinking of this, I continued to search for blood thralls. At the same time, in the abandoned prison, Guan Xilon's emotions had not yet recovered from the fear. She took out her phone, preparing to contact the outside world. She didn't dare expose her presence here, just wanting to see what was happening outside. Those terrifying monsters and the mecha on her body. All of this weighed on her heart, making it hard to breathe. However, when she took out her phone, she was completely dumbfounded. Then she heard a pigeon cooing outside the window, followed by a loud noise. The steel plate sealing the window suddenly bulged out, as if something had hit it. Guan Xilon exclaimed. Reacting, she quickly covered her mouth, but everything was in vain. Bang, bang, bang. Continuous impacts sounded, and the entire steel plate was punched out with one mark after another. Hearing this terrifying sound, she quietly picked up a sharp stone and held it tightly in her hand. Suddenly, the impact sound disappeared. Guan Xilon breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the danger had passed. Just then, the ceiling above suddenly vibrated. Unpainted gravel fell like rain, crackling down. Guan Xilon's face turned pale. Before long, a hole the size of a washbasin appeared in the ceiling. Through the hole, Guan Xilon finally saw the true faces of those things. The pigeons were a group of mutated pigeons, so huge. The lead pigeon was the size of a calf. A pair of scarlet eyes revealed a trace of bloodthirst. With a crack, a piece of concrete was easily crushed into powder, falling down, bringing Guan Xilon despair no less than being surrounded by 4 men just now. Guan Xilon's brain reacted. She picked up a stone on the ground and threw it at the hole in the ceiling. By chance, the stone hit the pigeon's claw. Instantly, the pigeon's eyes became even more scarlet, and the speed of breaking the stone increased a lot. Seeing this, Guan Xilon became even more desperate. Could it be that she was really going to die here today? Perhaps nearby. She noticed that a black gold figure seemed to flash in the hole above, followed by a shrill scream. instantly pulling Guan Xilon's thoughts back to reality. No, it's his mecha. Guan Xilon's face was filled with ecstasy, and she turned her body. Wanting to see clearly the battle that was happening overhead, she saw me reach out and grab a mutated pigeon's neck on the top floor and yank it. In an instant, the mutated pigeon's head and body separated, turning into a pile of lifeless flesh. Killed a mutated pigeon alien beast. Obtained the material gray feather, mutated blood, pigeon first kill. Stowing away the dropped items, I looked at the leader pigeon in the mutated pigeon flock. Another elite-level mutant. I wonder what it can drop. I directly rushed over. The fierce and brutal pigeon flock was as docile as sheep in my hands, unable to make waves in the slightest. Soon I had killed them all. Only the last pigeon leader was left. The pigeon leader also knew that I was not easy to provoke, spread its wings, flew up, and wanted to escape the building. Trying to escape now is too late. I picked up a slate from the ground and threw it out with all my strength. The slate hit right on its forehead. With a whoosh, the pigeon leader's body fell straight to the ground. I followed closely, jumping out of the building, stepping on its body with my feet. The mecha's own weight, coupled with the powerful impact of the fall, directly crushed the pigeon leader's body. Killed an elite mutated alien beast, obtained the material gray feather 5. Attachment module detection I white bone bomb blueprint 1. Seeing the rewards, I was first stunned, then laughed. The material drop aside for the moment, gray feather can also increase agility, and detection eye is a good thing. Not only can it probe the basic information of living things, but it can also reduce one's own aura. The concealment effect is also outstanding, considered one of the early god-tier skills. White bone bomb is no less than detection eye. The explosive power is huge and is very useful for clearing weak blood thralls. If used properly, a white bone bomb can easily kill vertical blood thralls. What's more, this blueprint can be reused to continuously produce them. With this, I can quickly complete the early wealth accumulation and upgrade my mecha. Although the materials needed to synthesize white bone bomb are relatively precious and rare. But compared to the value of white bone bomb, it's not worth mentioning at all. Anyway, the trading system will open tomorrow, so there's no need to rush now. Putting away the blueprint, I returned to the 5th floor. The roof had already been pierced with many holes by the mutated pigeons, but it could still be repaired. I didn't move rashly. It wasn't me who brought them here. I know it's not your fault, don't be afraid. This place is still not very safe. If only I could be like a snail, carrying a house all over the world. It's a pity there shouldn't be many such creatures. Besides snails, there is another kind of insect that carries its house around. That would be really great. Then let me take a hold of Guan Xilon's arm. Guan Xilon's face changed, and she subconsciously took out the stone she had prepared earlier. She smashed it hard at my arm. My eyes turned cold, and I raised my hand to knock away the stone in her hand. I'm not interested in you. I just want to know what that kind of insect that carries its house around is called. Seeing that I had no further movements, Guan Xilon was relieved and slowly lowered her arm. Then, a burst of intense unwillingness welled up. She was less important than an insect in his eyes. That kind of insect is called a bagworm. Bagworm moths can spin silk, using leaves or branches to weave a nest, carrying it as they walk. Guan Xilon explained it very concisely, but Huang Ting still saw the extraordinary nature of this insect. Is this kind of snout weevil widely distributed? They're widely distributed, basically all over the country. If you see a band-like thing on a branch, it might be a snout weevil's house. Hearing this, Huang Ting looked embarrassed. He had lived in big cities since he was a child. Where would he have seen such insects? He had seen many in his previous life though. But those insects either had a pile of eyes or dozens of tentacles, making people's scalps tingle. Compared to them, the insects now are simply harmless babies. Huang Ting revealed a smile. He really didn't misremember. Now that he had a target, Huang Ting no longer hesitated. He carried an iron box on his back and set off again. The reason he came back early was to find a container to store those materials. If it was the late stages of the apocalypse, various space devices would be countless, so naturally it wouldn't be so troublesome. But now, he can only use this primitive and simple collection method. He took out the map he had prepared earlier. Huang Ting headed towards the shelter built by Chu Jiajin in Chu Family Town. He didn't have enough manpower to search for all the tasks. He still had to hand it over to Chu Jiajin. He hoped that his manpower was still sufficient, otherwise, his next mecha would probably have to wait a long time. Huang Ting could also cooperate with the authorities. But unlike Chu Jiajin, even before the apocalypse started, there were many factions within the authorities. Now the relationships are even more complicated. Unless necessary, he doesn't want to get involved with them right now. The battles on the streets not only haven't decreased, but have become more and more intense. When it first started, humans were powerless against the hunting of blood corpses and other mutated creatures. But now, having awakened their natal mechs, they finally have the power to resist. Whether it's to avenge their relatives or to obtain strengthening and advancement materials, everyone has a reason to fight. Of course, Huang Ting coming out is still a minority. Most people are still hiding, choosing to wait and see. Huang Ting recalled as he moved forward the things that happened in his previous life. The great disaster on the first day was just the beginning. There would be other things that exceeded people's imagination, such as the system store that would open tomorrow. The appearance of the system store was an excellent opportunity for Huang Ting. If he wanted to sell bone bombs originally, he would have to trade one by one. Now that the system store is open, he can complete the transaction directly online. The speed of making money has greatly increased. The cost of a bone bomb is about 50 energy points. Selling it for 300 energy points apiece, a 6x profit margin, is enough for him to earn a lot. And this is just the first step. Having enough energy points means having enough strengthening materials. This isn't leisure, and it doesn't emphasize slowly cultivating that set. As long as there are enough strengthening materials, he can immediately advance to the second tier, leading everyone. These low-tier materials seem inconspicuous, but they are crucial for the advancement of mechs. In his previous life, he coveted immediate benefits. He sold a lot of low-tier materials. When he needed them later, he was dumbfounded and wasted a lot of time. He only completed the mech advancement. In this life, he is prescient. He must make a fortune on low-tier materials and quickly increase the mech's level to become the #1 person in Ning City. With a plan in mind, Huang Ting's speed was even faster. The lightning flash mech shuttled through the streets. It really seemed like a bolt of lightning. Whether it was a blood corpse or a human, they only felt a flash of lightning beside them. Then it returned to silence, making them not even clear about what happened. Shanha Shelter. Chu Jiajin created the Shanha group and built the shelter. It also used this name. In the beginning, some of his subordinates also mutated. But Aoyang kept Huang Ting's instructions in mind. Once a problem was discovered, he immediately opened fire. In addition, Chu Jiajin, who had already awakened his mech, and Chu Hui testified from the side, so their losses were not great. Like Huang Ting, Chu Jiajin also chose a building, but not an abandoned building, but a complete building that had not yet been delivered for use. At the top of the building, there are 8 small watchtowers that can easily see the movements of everyone within hundreds of meters. There's a situation. A mech has appeared 300 meters away. It's moving very fast. Suddenly, a voice came from a watchtower, and then the voice became rapid. Okay, it's rushing to the door. Lack is waiting in full force. Wait, it seems to have stopped. The people above did not dare to be negligent, and immediately passed the message down. At the same time, Chu Jiajin also learned that an uninvited guest had broken in. When he came outside to take a look, a familiar cyan-purple mech came into view. All right, don't be nervous. It's an old friend coming. Is it Huang Ting? Chu Hui exclaimed in surprise, stepping on a window and jumping out silently. In midair, the giant eagle mecha revived, spreading its wings. It flew directly in front of Huang Ting. It seems your mastery of your own mecha is quite high. But remember, Chu Hui also took the opportunity to deactivate her mecha form. Very well behaved. In just half a day, she felt as if the sky had fallen. The people around her were either transformed or lost contact. That's why she was so surprised to see Huang Ting, an acquaintance. At this time, Chu Jiajin also walked out of the building, seeing his daughter chatting so happily with Huang Ting. He smiled knowingly. Huang Ting's mystery and strength left an indelible impression on him. Plus, his height and appearance were both outstanding. It would be great if they could be together. This time, thanks to you. Otherwise, many people would have died at dawn. Chu Jiajin stepped forward, patting Huang Ting on the shoulder. Seeing this scene, Liang, standing behind, was shocked. It was the first time she had seen Chu Jiajin value a young man so much. However, if it was Huang Ting, then it wouldn't be surprising at all. Huang Ting exchanged pleasantries and then stated his purpose for coming. Centipedes. These used to be easy to find, but now it might be more troublesome. I'll have people keep an eye out. Chu Jiajin had long guessed that Huang Ting's mecha was related to insects. The two sides were currently allies. The stronger Huang Ting was, the more secure his own interests would be. Therefore, President Chu, I don't know if your people have found these 3 materials. I'm willing to trade a little secret. Oh, let me see. Chu Jiajin glanced at the 3 materials and chuckled. Coincidentally, I have all 3 of these. I wonder what secret you're willing to trade. As long as you crush the blood core and let the blood inside touch the mecha, you can increase the corresponding attributes. I wonder how much this little secret is worth. Huang Ting didn't hide the usage of the blood core. Even if he didn't say it, this secret would be revealed later. Instead of letting it become common knowledge then, it's better to exchange it for some benefits now. Hearing this secret, Chu Jiajin was shaken. He thought absorbing the blood core would be very troublesome, but he didn't expect it to be so simple. After hesitating for a moment, he said, "There aren't many blood-colored bones. I'll give you 8-10 drops of mutated blood leech blood, and 6 pieces of blood-stained beast hide. Is that okay?" Huang Ting calculated. These materials, plus his own accumulation, could make 10 white bone bombs. That's about enough. He also understood that it was still the early days of the apocalypse, and Chu Jiajin couldn't give out much material. Ordinary people would have even less. Anyway, it was a no-cost transaction. It didn't matter how much he gave. Besides, Chu Jiajin wasn't his subordinate. He and the other party were just cooperating. However, there are 2 crafting methods. One is using blueprints. You just need to put the materials on the blueprint, which is simple and quick. The other is handcrafting. Handcrafting is more troublesome and difficult, but it often produces good things. In his previous life, many people were handcrafting masters. Even if their mecha were relatively mediocre, they could equip it and its combat power wouldn't be bad at all. With a flash of white light, a white bone bomb similar to a miniature skull was completed. Huang Ting made the remaining 9 white bone bombs. All at once, he found Chu Jiajin again and demonstrated the power of the white bone bomb. He even brought 8 blood leeches. After the white bone bomb was thrown with a boom, the 8 blood leeches instantly turned into a pile of unrecognizable minced meat. Chu Jiajin was immediately excited. "Huang Ting, how many of these white bone bombs do you have?" "I want as many as you have." As a commercial veteran, he could see at a glance the value of the white bone bomb. Now that the apocalypse had just begun, even those wearing mecha were still afraid to fight blood leeches. In this way, the value of the white bone bomb was infinitely increased. You don't have to fight blood leeches face to face. It can also cause huge damage. It's simply a divine weapon. Presumably many people will buy some for self-defense. Even if they don't use it themselves, they can buy it for family and friends. In short, white bone bombs simply don't sell. President Chu, don't be anxious. I have a better method. Arrive on time the next day without any surprises. In addition to the mecha attribute page, there is now an additional system store. A semi-transparent light curtain slowly unfolds in front of Huang Ting. Open the system store, and a dazzling array of goods immediately appears. Not only are there a large number of food and daily necessities, but also some other gadgets. 1 energy point can buy a small food gift pack. The supplies inside are enough for 1 person's daily needs. If you are thrifty, it is not impossible to eat for 3 days. If you don't want to sell to the system store, you can also create your own stall and adopt a 1-item 1-price method. Although this method is inefficient, the only advantage is that you don't have to pay a stall fee. With a thought, Huang Ting placed the remaining 9 white bone bombs on the newly created stall and then spent 100 energy points to purchase a 10-minute pin-to-top function. The pin-to-top function requires auctioning. The price is also simple. Only need to sell items to the system store and then spend 100 energy points to purchase a 10-minute pin-to-top function. The pin-to-top function needs to be auctioned and the highest bidder wins. It's just that the system store has just opened and everyone is confused, so no one is participating. 100 points to buy a pin-to-top. What a bargain. If it were in my previous life, I'm afraid 10,000 energy points wouldn't be enough. Looking at his white bone bomb being pinned to the top of all products, Huang Ting was very satisfied. 1 bomb for 300 energy points? Are you crazy? I think so too. Isn't this treating people like fools? 30 energy points to buy a large food gift pack. Enough for me to eat for a month. 300 energy points is enough for me to eat for a year. Strange, something that's pinned to the top for 10 minutes, spending a lot of money to buy a pin to top. This white bone bomb must not be simple. Otherwise, it wouldn't cost so much. You get what you pay for. This white bone bomb must be a good thing. It's a pity that even if I sell everything, I only have 15 energy points. Yours is considered good. I haven't gone out since yesterday and have been hiding at home. My neighbor seems to have mutated. We brothers pooled our money to buy one. Let's try the effect. Is now the time to talk about these things? My entire apartment building is full of monsters. Someone save me. The upstairs is beyond saving. Just wait for death. The system store is divided into upper and lower parts. The upper part is the product page, and the lower part is a chat box. At this moment, messages are flashing by quickly. Some people are talking about white bone bombs, while others are constantly calling for help from the outside world. The entire chat box is a mess. Huang Ting just glanced at it casually and stopped paying attention. The system store appears today, and the chat system will be open tomorrow. But this is not good news. The more new features appear, the faster the biological mutation and evolution speed will be. which also means more danger. In less than 3 minutes, the white bone bombs were snapped up. There are many people without money, and there are also many people with money. The cost price of the white bone bomb is around 50 points. Huang Ting didn't price it too high. 300 energy points is nothing to some big forces. Even ordinary people can pool money to buy one. In an old residential area in the West District, Ran Zijing had just confirmed the purchase, and his hand suddenly felt heavy. Lifting it up, a strange bomb the size of a normal human skull appeared in his hand. This is that white bone bomb worth 300. The brothers next to him all came over and asked curiously. There were 6 of them in total, all in the same dormitory. They originally planned to come out for 2 days during the vacation, but they didn't expect to be trapped here. Outside are hordes of blood corpses. Even if they have each awakened their natal mecha, they still dare not act rashly. That's right, but I don't have much hope for its power. As long as the commotion it makes is loud enough, it can lure away the blood corpses near us. Ran Zijing took a deep breath, and the silver-white mecha automatically adhered to his body. The others also summoned their mecha. There aren't many people in this area, and there are even fewer cheap ones. The blood corpses on the entire building have already been cleared by them. The only thorny thing now is the group of blood corpses surrounding the outside. The few of them didn't expect the white bone bomb to exert much power. Just like Ran Zijing said, it can only lure away those blood corpses, or divert some of them. A group of 6 people came to the top floor of the residential area. Ran Zijing observed for a while. Subsequently, he selected a relatively large blood beast group and threw out a bone bomb. The bone bomb in the air glided in a beautiful arc, then fell into the blood beast group. Humph! In an instant, a deafening sound rang out, and all the blood beasts immediately rioted, rushing frantically towards the explosion site. Seeing this scene, not only were the few people not happy, but a strong sense of shock rose in their hearts. The power of this bomb is a bit too great. They clearly saw that, at the moment the bone bomb exploded, at least 8 or 9 blood beasts were torn to pieces, and other blood beasts also suffered varying degrees of damage. This isn't just a firecracker that makes noise, it's a real bomb. Buy more, and bomb those damn things to death. The expressions of the few people were fanatical. With this kind of good thing, who would still want to escape? Of course, they would bomb all the blood beasts. They weren't the only ones reaping good things and testing bone bombs. Other forces also realized the huge potential of bone bombs and contacted Huang Ting one after another to request additional purchases. Huang Ting wasn't idle either. He first used energy points to purchase in large quantities the materials needed to make bone bombs, and then marked out the drawings and auxiliary modules he needed. Compared to food, drawings and auxiliary modules were shockingly expensive. Just one of them required thousands of energy points. Better ones cost tens of thousands. He currently couldn't afford them at all and could only put them aside for now. Streaks of white light flashed. Soon, Huang Ting made another 50 bone bombs and stuffed them into the stall. Almost in an instant, 50 bone bombs disappeared, replaced by 15,000 energy points. Without a single one left, except for a few that were priced too outrageously, Huang Ting swept away all the low-level materials he could see on the market. The drop rate of bone bomb blueprints isn't low. This is just the early stage of the apocalypse. After a while, it won't be worth anything. No, maybe it won't be worth anything by tomorrow. So, he wants to take advantage of the fact that it still has a price now, to sell as much as possible. At the same time, Fenghua Shelter, although it experienced a bit of chaos in the early stages, Fenghua still successfully survived. Of course, this is also related to An Honghai's Crimson Creek mech blueprint. Without his help, Fenghua might have disappeared into history in the apocalypse. The strong are respected. At this moment, he has already relied on his powerful strength to become the uncrowned king of Fenghua. Even the few older brothers who usually look down on him have been trampled under his feet and are at his disposal. Is that Huang Ting again? How is it always him? Seeing the name of the traitor, An Honghai instantly became furious. He was sure that this Huang Ting who was selling bone bombs was definitely the one who had humiliated him at the exhibition and among the staff. At that time he wasn't in a convenient position to attack Huang Ting, but it's different now. Huang Ting. Let me send you a big gift first. The corner of An Honghai's mouth turned up. He waved and summoned a subordinate, whispering a few words to him. Huang Ting was still buried in making bone bombs. The system store chat channel has already exploded. There are so many monsters outside, and that Huang Ting only wants to profit from disaster. Simply shameful. That's right, why not make the bone bomb formula public so everyone can make them together? And better resist those monsters? Even if you don't make the formula public, you should lower the price. I think 30 energy points each is more fair. To the person upstairs, I worked hard all day to fight monsters and only earned 30 energy points. I can't even afford a bomb. Reject monopolies. Hand over the formula. Messages were sent out one after another. The content above was either to have Huang Ting make the formula public or to demand that he lower the selling price. Chu Jiazhen quickly noticed this phenomenon. The alliance asked Liang to find Huang Ting. Is something the matter? Facing Liang's arrival, Huang Ting was still a bit puzzled. Although bone bombs can be completed using blueprints, he also needs to keep an eye on them. Sure enough, they can't be used to their full potential. This led to him being completely unaware of what was happening outside. You should take a look at the chat channel. Many people want you to hand over. Liang spoke one after another. Filled with indignation, Huang Ting immediately opened the chat area, and sure enough, he saw many heaven-defying remarks. One of them even made him take out all the energy points he had sold before. Don't worry about these, you just need to keep an eye on the above, to see if there are any missing strengthening materials. Don't worry about anything else. How could there possibly be a recipe for a bone bomb? Huang Ting ignored this group of jumping clowns and put all the bone bombs he had just made on the shelves. In the blink of an eye, half of the 100 bone bombs were sold. See? Their actions are more honest than their mouths. Huang Ting chuckled and transferred the 30,000 energy points he just received. Transfer it all to Liang and continue to keep an eye on those materials for me, as long as the price isn't too high. Buy them all. Yes, facing Huang Ting's order. Liang didn't resist at all. By the way, I found the people spreading the news. There are some familiar faces. They should be from Fenghua's side. Before leaving, Liang reminded him again, Fenghua, and Honghai. This guy still hasn't given up. Huh? I know, you can go down first. After he left, Huang Ting took out the strengthening materials he had just purchased. Various materials stacked together, exuding an unspeakable temptation. These materials should be able to push the attributes of the Colossus Mecha to the limit of Tier 1. Buying low and selling high is indeed one of the most profitable ways. A scarlet gold light flashed, and the Colossus Mecha appeared in the room. Huang Ting sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the pile of strengthening materials on the ground. Strength +1, defense +1, defense +1. Defense +2, agility +2, agility +1 as all the strengthening materials disappeared, and the attributes of the Colossus Mecha were completely renewed. Name, Colossus Mecha, level Tier 1. Strength, 35, defense, 10, agility, 10, mystery, 0. Exclusive module, Colossus, attached module. Palm form detection eye. Attribute enhancements have reached their limit. Next is the Mecha's Tier Up. The so-called Tier Up is actually the Mecha has already been strengthened to the upper limit. If you don't break through, you won't be able to continue to improve. To break through the upper limit, the first thing you need is the Mecha Core. Thanks to Big Brother and the 4 Huang Mao, Huang Ting doesn't have to worry about this at all. Taking out another pile of materials, plus a cube-shaped Mecha Core, he calmed down and officially started the Tier Up. Mecha Tier Up activated. The time required for this Tier Up is 28H. Just as Huang Ting was performing the Mecha Tier Up, An Honghai was furious in the shelter. He thought he could find someone to disgust Huang Ting. Unexpectedly, the other party ignored him completely, which made him feel like he punched the air. Depressed to the point of almost vomiting blood. Boss, just at this moment, a younger brother suddenly ran in from outside, panic-stricken but with surprise. Boss, we seem to have found an elite monster. Elite monster? And Honghai instantly became interested. The things dropped by elite monsters must be better than ordinary monsters. Let's go. Take me over there to take a look. Under the guidance of the younger brother, he quickly arrived at a park. Once again, it was verified that it wasn't just animals that mutated, even plants couldn't escape. Just a blade of grass can grow to more than 2 meters high. As for those big trees, now they are growing wildly to tens of meters, covering the sky and the sun. The park, which used to be a place for leisure and entertainment, at this moment it's no different from hell. That elite monster is a cicada. Before it mutated, it would bow as long as you gave it food. Pretty cute. Walking on the road, the younger brother gave a simple introduction. As the weeds in front of him were peeled away, a giant cicada with a height of more than 5 meters and 2 deformed faces appeared in front of An Honghai. This is the cute you were talking about? Seeing this terrifying monster, An Honghai gasped in fright. But seeing the helpers he brought, he was certain in his heart. With so many people, they can kill that monster even by taking turns. Brothers, come with me. Hong Liang let out an angry roar. And Honghai was the first to rush up, like a wild boar. The force of a rhino's charge is not to be underestimated. A sudden attack directly sent the giant cicada flying, and other minions also took the opportunity to rush up. unleashing the attack. Although An Honghai has an arrogant and despotic personality, he is very brave in battle. Relying on his own advantages, he quickly overwhelmed the giant cicadere, forcing it to retreat repeatedly. 10 minutes later, the giant cicadere crashed to the ground, and a large number of materials burst out. Among them, something resembling a blueprint caught An Honghai's attention. This is the blueprint for the white bone bomb. Haha, I have a blueprint too. Huang Ting, you can't do anything now, can you? Put away the blueprint. He immediately ordered his men to collect materials in the market, and soon, the first batch of white bone bombs was produced by An Honghai. As for the price, he set it at 200 points. As soon as this batch of white bone bombs came out, the enthusiasm of the entire market. Many people who had chosen to wait and see did not hesitate to come to An Honghai to buy. As for those who had bought them before, they were now full of regret, cursing Huang Ting as a profiteer. An Honghai's previous plan didn't work, but he didn't expect selling a small white bone bomb, but unintentionally achieved the effect. Sure enough, human beings still put interests first. Seeing that the sales of white bone bombs were getting better and better, An Honghai began to hoard raw materials non-stop. He even purchased them at prices 2 or 3 times higher than the market price. Anyway, the profit of white bone bombs was enough. He wasn't worried about losing money at all. After he saw the name of the white bone bomb maker, he couldn't help but laugh. An Honghai, you brought this on yourself. Huang Ting called Aoyang over and asked him to sell the white bone bomb raw materials he had purchased earlier. This white bone bomb has a good profit. We can lower the price a little bit and still sell it. Regarding Huang Ting's decision, Aoyang was very puzzled, because this white bone bomb has already ruined my reputation. So I want to do something. Huang Ting didn't explain and said with a smile. Aoyang's eyes were strange. He didn't believe that Huang Ting was giving up profits for the sake of his reputation. Huang Ting saw Aoyang's meaning and shook his head helplessly. He was obviously a great guy. He found a piece of paper and wrote a few lines on it. He handed it to Aoyang. Seeing the contents of the note, Aoyang's pupils shook. He looked at Huang Ting in disbelief. Now I should be a good person, right? A good person. You are a great guy. Aoyang clenched the note tightly, on which was a kind of simplified version of white bone bomb that can be made without blueprints. Although the power of the simplified version of white bone bomb is a bit weaker, it has the advantage of easy access to materials. And it doesn't require blueprints. In the previous life, anyone who lived a few more years could make it. From the beginning, Huang Ting never thought of getting rich by relying on white bone bombs, just wanting to seize the opportunity and harvest a wave of low-level materials to complete the mecha upgrade. Now that the goal has been achieved, whether to continue making white bone bombs doesn't matter. If no one reveals it, he will make another profit. If someone reveals the blueprint, then he will take out the simplified version of the blueprint. It can also be considered a help to others. Unexpectedly, An Honghai broke in and plunged in headfirst. Since he is an enemy, then Huang Ting doesn't need to be polite. Fenghua shelter. A minion that's 60,000 energy points were rich. And An Honghai laughed heartily. His heart couldn't help but look forward to it. This was all his savings. Huang Ting is just an ordinary person. How could he possibly fight him? Before the apocalypse happened, he was stronger than Huang Ting, and it's the same after the apocalypse. The bottom of society is ultimately the bottom of society. The social hierarchy has already solidified, even if there is an external force. To carry out a major reshuffle, his energy is still unimaginable to ordinary people. Ordinary people simply cannot break through this layer of shackles. They will eventually become objects for the rich to use. The so-called working class, isn't it just slaves under another name? Boss, another batch of raw materials has appeared in the mall, but the price is a bit high. Should we buy them? At this time, the minion asked, and An Honghai glanced at the price. He discovered that it was indeed very high, more than twice as expensive as the materials he had purchased before. In this way, the bone bombs made from this batch of materials, he could only earn 60 or 70 energy points. After some thought, he made up his mind, buy it all. On the one hand, he could still make a profit, at most it would be a little harder, and on the other hand, he wanted to disgust Huang Ting. He didn't want the other party to get these materials. The subordinates received the order, and immediately began to buy. If they didn't have money, they would sell some bone bombs, and then continue to buy. Soon, large batches of materials appeared in the warehouse. Seeing this scene, An Honghai became even more smug. This time he wanted to see if, with so many bone bombs and energy points, Chu Hui would still agree to his pursuit. If she still didn't agree, he had long been displeased with that old guy from the Chu family. If he really annoyed him, he wouldn't mind using force. The woman that An Honghai couldn't get, no one else could get. Huang Ting was naturally unaware of all of this. But he knew that even if he raised the price of raw materials such as blood-colored bones, An Honghai still collected them all. Back and forth, his energy points had reached the 30,000 mark. As the last bit of material was purchased by An Honghai, Huang Ting once again spent 100 energy points to bid for a pinned message. Pick up a board of bone bomb manufacturing methods, priced at 1 energy point for 2. The moment this message appeared, the chat area was silent for a moment, for a full 10 seconds. No one sent a message. Finally, someone couldn't help but ask, "Is it real? Really? Just buy one and see. Anyway, it's not expensive." Someone immediately replied below. Some people were asking if it was real. Some people had already taken action. Damn, 1 energy point for 2? Is Huang Ting giving out charity? I'll go try it out first. If I don't come back in half an hour, please call the police for me. Rest assured, upstairs, I will help you keep time. Messages kept flashing across the screen, quickly reaching tens of thousands. This was still due to the limit on speaking, otherwise it would easily reach hundreds of thousands. Just as people were chatting lively, another product message was pinned. Pick up a board of bone bombs. The power is slightly reduced compared to the original version, but it is indeed real. Moreover, the manufacturing materials are easier to obtain. It is recommended that everyone buy a copy. Ning City Wartime Committee. Priced at 1 energy point for 2. Boom! The chat channel instantly exploded. It's actually real. The official is endorsing it. It's real. I usually love to do handicrafts. I just tried to make one and it really exploded. That power is even more awesome than a hand grenade. Handmade, such great power. When making it, will it explode? No, this bomb is quite peculiar. There are no things like gunpowder inside. It seems to have some mysterious power. If the production fails, it's just a pile of ordinary raw materials. Only in the moment of successful production will that energy be injected inside. Huang Ting is awesome. I'm really crying to death. Humph humph. You guys were scolding him as a profiteer before. Now he's sharing such good things. I'm sorry, Huang Ting, I was wrong. Please accept my knees. As pick up a board of bone bombs appeared, Huang Ting's reputation began to reverse. Many people stood up for him and spoke for him, but there were also people who were not convinced, wanting to resell it in secret. So what? It's not like it's a free share. If you want everyone to know, then you should share it for free. Upstairs, are you sick in the head? You can't afford 1 energy point for 2? Go try it, okay? To put a product on the shelves, the minimum is 1 energy point. If it weren't for this restriction, Huang Ting would definitely share it for free. I remember it was him who was always saying bad things about Huang Ting before. I think he's just a pure hater. The chat area did not have keyword filtering, and all sorts of greetings appeared. Soon that person was so scared that they didn't dare to continue speaking. That is the Fenghua shelter. An Honghai, on a whim, purchased the crafting method for the pick up a plank white bone bomb. When he saw the materials inside, he only felt a dizzy spell in his brain, and went to find someone to experiment with it. He embraced the last shred of hope for the bomb's power and handed the blueprints to his subordinate. After an explosion, the subordinate Xan Songzong ran excitedly to him. "Boss! This pick up a plank white bone bomb is really powerful. It killed 3 blood corpses in one go, and it even dropped a strength blood core." Hearing this, An Honghai's eyes turned bloodshot. He raised his hand and slapped the subordinate in the face. If the subordinate hadn't drunk fake fish soup before, with outstanding defensive attributes, just that slap alone would have kept him down for half a day. "Idiot! If this bomb was useful, what would we do with all the raw materials we stockpiled?" Upon hearing this, the subordinate also realized that it was a problem. He opened the Alliance System store, but the materials that had previously risen in price had now returned to their original prices, and there was no way to sell them. They suffered a huge loss in this wave. Not only did they not earn the money from selling white bone bombs before, the things in the warehouse were also used up. The only thing worth comforting was, they still have raw materials and people to self-produce and self-consume. Time came to the next day. Accompanied by a sound of light, the chat system officially opened. At the same time, the growth rate of blood corpses and other monsters has accelerated again. Second-tier monsters have appeared in some places, and were listed as forbidden areas. Huang Ting skillfully opened the chat system. The chat system is divided into 3 parts, namely private chat, group chat, regional chat, and world chat. World chat is not yet open, so no need to worry. What Huang Ting is really concerned about is the group chat function. This is the fundamental guarantee for building a force. Creating a group chat requires 2 or more people, plus 1,000 energy points. Energy points are nothing to Huang Ting, but the people who enter the group chat need to be carefully considered. Putting down the group chat system, Huang Ting once again summoned the Colossus Mecha. Name, Colossus Mecha, level second tier. Strength, 42. Defense, 12. Agility, 11. Mystery, 0. Exclusive module. Colossus. Attached module. Standing palm form. Detection I. After upgrading to the second tier, the 3 basic attributes of the Colossus Mecha have increased to varying degrees. Among them, the strength column has almost reached the critical value of the second tier mecha. The attribute limit of a first tier mecha is 10, and the attribute limit of a second tier mecha is 50. 42 points of strength. This can be said to be top-notch among second tier mechas. The Colossus Mecha has completed its upgrade. Next is the Sky Domain Mecha and the Mandible Smasher. I wonder if they have found it. Just as he was thinking, a knock on the door rang. He opened it and saw Chu Jiajin and Chu Hui, and a Liang leading a transparent box. The chat system is open. Should we add each other as friends? I wonder if you would like to join our group chat? Chu Jiajin warmly invited. He really didn't want to let go of a talent like Huang Ting, who was strong in combat power and knew a lot about the end of the world. President Chu, I'm sorry, I have my own plans. Huang Ting refused outright. He still has many things to do in the future and doesn't want to put himself tied to Chu Jiajin's worship. In that case, let's add each other as friends and keep in touch in the future. Also, the Shanha group is gone. Don't call me President Chu in the future, you can call me Uncle Chu. Chu Jiajin did not force it, and said, bringing over a little guy, see if this is the kind of insect king you're looking for. Chu Jiajin waved his hand, and Liang took a step forward with the transparent box. In the box was a palm-sized tower-shaped object, entirely built with steel bars and glass, making Huang Ting a little confused. Insects are evolving so fast now that they're building houses with steel bars. Regardless of whether it is or not, he decided to accept it first and have Guan Xilan take a look at it when he gets back. After adding the 3 as friends, Huang Ting also transferred 10,000 energy points to Chu Jiajin as a reward for this time, and then turned and left. Wanfu Shopping Mall. As the leading large-scale shopping mall in Ning City, there is a lot of traffic here. After the disaster started, the originally prosperous and lively shopping mall instantly turned into a hell. Blood corpses of all sizes occupy this place. In addition, there are many powerful monsters transformed from pets. Then Zijing and a few brothers quietly sneaked to the entrance of the mall and picked up a stone from the ground. They threw it out and used the white bone bomb to eliminate most of the blood corpses in the old residential area. They escaped successfully, but several of them were game addicts and knew they couldn't just sit and wait for death. They had to seize the time to practice and become strong to survive in this apocalyptic world. They regarded Wanfu Mall as a dungeon and prepared to team up to farm it, hence the scene above. The stone drew a graceful arc in the air and fell to the entrance of the mall with a clang. Sensing the movement, a deformed monster rushed out. Its lower body was still normal, with thick legs no different from ordinary blood corpses. But what was terrifying was its upper body. From the waist up, the upper body was divided into 2 parts. One part looked like a woman, and the other part was a mutated low bone, as if something had sewn the 2 together. Yu Lang suppressed the urge to vomit and sighed. And hung Thursday Kui K Nai Kan Man Han Yu So Voi Resident Evil. Chukchan Noda by Kim Duyet Nu Zut Hien Truok Day. Roy Tu Tin Nam Chat Tan Siu Kim Bak Kot. His face under the mech armor was unusually solemn. We can't deal with this monster. Let's run quickly. Nu Kong Che Ti Chung Ta Si by Su Ly Mat. Vua Noi, Anta Vua Chuan by Quay Nuoi Roy D. But just as he turned around, a giant mouth suddenly appeared on his left side. Crack. The thick mechanical left arm was easily bitten off by the giant mouth. Zijing's body tilted, almost kneeling on the ground. Damn it. Zijing, wait for me. Your daddy is here to save you. Seeing Zijing injured, the mech flickered a few times, turned into a ball of light, and completely disappeared. Yu Lang fell into a coma, and the other 4 were the same. They were instantly severely injured by the 2-headed monster. Although the mechs hadn't disappeared, they no longer had the strength to fight. Just as the 2-headed monster was about to eat them, a calm voice rang out, "You are no match for him yet. Remember, always prioritize staying alive. Don't easily choose to take risks." In the scene, a black gold mech slowly appeared. Mysterious, cold, and powerful. Huang Ting scanned with his eyes. The auxiliary module Detection I activated. Information about the 2-headed blood corpse appeared before his eyes. Name 2-headed fusion blood corpse. Level Elite Tier 1. Danger level low. Obviously, the 2-headed monster was an elite-level mutant, and it was on the verge of advancing. Otherwise, the danger level would definitely be very low instead of low. Such a powerful monster could easily tear apart ordinary Tier 1 mechs. If Ran Zijing and the others' mechs weren't ordinary goods, and Huang Ting hadn't arrived just now, he probably would have only been able to clean up their corpses. Seeing another enemy appear, The two-headed monster roared and quickly rushed in front of Huang Ting. Then a big mouth bit down fiercely. "Be careful," Ran Zijing shouted to remind him. She knew the power of that big mouth. The thick metal armor of the mech under that big mouth was no different from paper. The next second, her pupils shook. That black gold mech actually grabbed that big mouth with incredible speed. Then, the black gold mech used force with both hands. Tear. The big mouth on the dog's head was actually torn in half by force. Such a brutal and bloody scene. Shocked Ran Zijing and the others, who gasped. But Yu Lang, who had just woken up from his coma, was almost scared into passing out again. Although he used to love playing those kinds of background games, games are games, and reality is reality. He could face even the ugliest monsters in games with equanimity, but in reality any blood corpse could scare him out of his wits. The woman on the other side of the body, who was being attacked, suddenly howled. The sharp sound made Huang Ting's head ache. She extended her sharp claws and swiped across the two-headed monster's body. With a chi sound, the two-headed monster was cut into two halves by the claws. The cut surface was as smooth as a mirror. Killed Golden Eagle level. Two-headed fusion blood corpse. Received bloodstained beast skin thorn, wind force fong 3, blood-colored bone 3, and howling long hair. Items. Auxiliary module, Yu Quan's Fong. A large pile of drop names appeared before his eyes. Huang Ting habitually looked at the last one. The effect of Yu Quan's Fong was very unique. After adding it a special, when touched to the palm, a distinctive pattern resembling a fierce dog's head will appear. This pattern can withstand attacks from the front and can also transform into a large mouth to attack enemies when engaging in combat. Subordinate modules can be added to 6 locations, namely the head, torso, hands, and feet. Standing palm form occupies a right-hand slot. The Fong of the Mad Hound goes on the torso. In that case, I can add 4 more subordinate modules. Subordinate modules are equivalent to extensions of the mecha's abilities. Although they look similar to skills, they cannot be installed infinitely. Under normal circumstances, only 6 can be installed. If you want other subordinate modules, you can only replace them. Grabbing the Fong of the Mad Hound and pressing it against his chest, a dog's head pattern immediately appeared. Huang Ting then looked at the How Cult Leader's long hair. Name: How Cult Leader's long hair. Quality: excellent. Type: item. Effect: putting away the How Cult Leader's long hair, Huang Ting picked up the other materials that had dropped. "Hey boss, my name is Ran Zijing. They are all my roommates." Ran Zijing, who had just entered university life, came to Huang Ting with a clear sense of foolishness. Ran Zijing introducing himself. Hearing this name, Huang Ting was stunned for a moment before remembering that among the first batch of buyers of the White Bone Bomb, there was one named Ran Zijing. Glancing at Ran Zijing's mecha, Huang Ting spat out 2 words. "Huang Ting, you're the seller of the White Bone Bomb. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here. By the way, mechas have durability. Once the time is up, they will recover on their own. Don't worry." After saying that, he left without looking back. Damn, is this the demeanor of a strong person? I hope I can be like that in the future. Looking at his departing back, Yu Lang was filled with envy. "You'll die before you even grow to that level," Ran Zijing bluntly. Punctured his beautiful fantasy, grabbed him, and headed towards the old residential area. This time, if it hadn't been for Huang Ting's intervention, they probably would have been wiped out here. Indeed, this is not a game after all. Even if you are ahead, you can't just mess around. Not long after saying goodbye to the others, he turned a street corner. That's right, he inadvertently discovered other creatures approaching. They raised their heart rainbow compound eyes and roared as they charged over. Huang Ting was just about to dodge when he felt a sticky force from under his feet, almost causing him to fall. He looked down and saw. It was a pool of white liquid that had stuck to his legs. Zhu Si. The thought had just flashed through his mind when, the next second, he was knocked down to the ground by a spider that had rushed over. Immediately afterwards, his limbs were pinned to the ground by the spider's 8 legs. Huang Ting was about to exert force when he discovered that his limbs were all stuck to that white liquid. For a moment, seeing that its prey was bound by it and had nowhere to escape, the giant spider roared happily. Then, it opened its large mouth, revealing 2 huge mandibles as sharp as scissors, and bit fiercely towards Huang Ting's abdomen. It knew that the flesh there was the most tender. "Fong of the Mad Hound!" Huang Ting roared loudly. At that instant, his abdomen bulged high. Immediately afterwards, a fierce dog's head drilled out. The dog's head tried hard to open its mouth, revealing rows of crisscrossing teeth inside. Kabang! The giant spider's head was actually bitten off. By this sudden bite, the painful spider retreated, taking advantage of this opportunity. Huang Ting broke free from the restraints and immediately slid across its abdomen, accompanied by a large pool of unknown liquid flowing out. Seeing Huang Ting safe, the giant spider died completely. Thankfully, a fang of the madhound dropped just now, otherwise this time would have been troublesome. Huang Ting, while rejoicing, tried to wipe off the unknown liquid on his body. However, this liquid also seemed to have stickiness. He tried for a while but couldn't wipe it off at all. I'd better go back and change my clothes quickly. This shrunken forehead on my hand is also a bit strange. I need to have it officially appraised. He ended his difficult life, stowed away the materials that burst out, and continued forward. Returning to the abandoned building, after a day and night of recovery, Guan Xilan's condition was much better. His natal mecha had also recovered, and what surprised Huang Ting was that Guan Xilan's mecha was actually related to plants. I am a vegetarian. On the day of the mutation, I only ate a little mushroom. That's right, Guan Xilan's mecha is based on mushrooms. His core exclusive module is also related to mushrooms, named spore parasitism. The moment he heard this name, Huang Ting realized that Guan Xilan's talent was not simple. He had never heard of such a perverted talent appearing in his previous life. It seems that Guan Xilan in his previous life died in the hands of those 4 men. That's why he was not well known. In this life, he happened to save him. The legends that will be passed down in the future will definitely have one more. Calming down, Huang Ting pulled out that mutated Soviet Russia. He asked Guan Xilan to check. Although the material and shape of the house have changed, I can be sure that this is Soviet Russia. Even if it is affected by mutation, it has not eliminated his obsession with the house. Getting Guan Xilan's confirmation, Huang Ting no longer hesitated. He found an empty room and summoned the Titan mecha. He crushed the tower-shaped building and picked out the bugs inside. Fortunately, even after the mutation, Soviet Russia was only the size of a thumb. Releasing the mecha, he threw it directly into his mouth and chewed it a few times. The rich juice splashed everywhere in his mouth. That feeling was like biting into a sizzling grilled sausage. His clothes were torn. Fortunately, Guan Xilan didn't see this scene. Otherwise, he would definitely think that Huang Ting was a pervert. Using the mutated Soviet Russia genes to modify the Tier 1 heavy infantry general-purpose mecha. Modification time, 7 hours, 59 minutes, 58 seconds. Insufficient strengthening materials modification stopped. Missing strengthening materials as follows. Essence of flesh and blood, corpse eater soul, blood red. Moonlight eater, blood spirit root, any epic level strengthening material. Prompt sounded again, but this time the prompt that appeared was a bit beyond Huang Ting's expectations. It seems that all these genes are indeed special and they even need strengthening materials. Essence of flesh and blood. Synthesized from flesh and blood. This should be available in the system store. But the remaining 4 materials are either dropped by mutated corpse eaters or mutated plants. Neither of them is easy to obtain, let alone an epic level strengthening material. Seeing these materials, a feeling arose in Huang Ting's heart. After thinking about it, a familiar place name appeared in Huang Ting's mind. Ningxing Zoo. There are already a lot of animals and plants there. After the mutation, whether it is quality or level, it is far superior to the outside. Going there to get materials might be a good choice. No words overnight. The next day, Huang Ting ate something and prepared to set off, heading to Ningxing Zoo. Ningxing Zoo is 40 kilometers away from the abandoned building. Although it is a bit